Know it?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Because the best ones are like Twitter. Like we'll put it up. What's up, guys? Welcome back to my brand new YouTube show entitled Own Your Shit. It's a good title, right?
Yeah.
All right, so we have featured professional, and I'm happy to announce him as my guest. He's not a business owner, but he is the assistant coach for North Quincy High School here in Massachusetts. So, Mike or Michael?
Either one's good. We'll go with Mike.
All right, Mike Hanson. Hanson?
Yep.
All right. So, Mike, tell us a little bit about what brought you into the realm of coaching and why North Quincy, I guess, to start?
I went here, graduated from here, and
What year we graduated?
really like to say
I'm gonna call your age out here.
98.
Okay, so 98.
A long time ago. But I was one of those kids who didn't really have any direction. Moved around a lot, had a very hard time finding my niche, got into a lot of trouble. Went to a really prestigious high school for the first 2 years that I think was a good fit for some kids, but it wasn't a good fit for me.
Okay.
During the same time, we moved to Quincy, and I met some kids in my neighborhood who went to North, met kids at CCD who went to North, and I convinced my parents that maybe that money they were spending on private school wasn't the best investment. And I convinced them that I'd be happier and that I would do better at North. And the minute I set foot in here, I met so many teachers and coaches who literally turned things around for me within my first couple of days here. I've never felt so at home anywhere, and the people here genuinely cared. They cared about you doing well in the classroom and on the field, but also that you were happy, that you were learning things that would allow you to be productive, that you take with you beyond high school. So I've always felt like I owe the people in this building a great deal.
Okay.
So I didn't know that I wanted to be a teacher. I went through changing majors in college, trying a couple of different career paths, moving around a lot. The stuff that
As we all do.
Yeah, that's what your early 20s are for.
Yep.
And when I arrived at the decision to teach, there were no job openings in my field here. So I took a job in another part of Massachusetts. And when the job opened here, I applied for it, got hired, wound up being the right move. Met my wife here. And
So how long have you been at North Quincy?
this will be my 11th year teaching here and my 10th year coaching here.
Awesome.
And I got into coaching mainly because I played here, and what sports, what the weight room, what that did for me, again, can't put a price on it. It was invaluable. And the arts did the same thing for me. So I teach in the arts department and I coach football. I really credit both of those things with saving my life, more or less.
Well, and I love the fact that you said you teach in the arts, but you also teach in the sports, because I feel like there's a lot of disconnect, especially nowadays, with either you're artsy and creative or you're athlete and sports, and you're kind of not. It's almost not accepted, like, to be the high school athlete who's in the art class with the nerdy girl, and I say that, but guys, we see the dilemma of groupings in high school, right? And I'm sure you see it, especially being in high school. You've got the populars and the athletes and the nerdy kids. I was a nerd. I physics all the way, like total physics geek.
How'd that work out for you?
Well, my degree's in engineering, and you can see how well that's going for me. But as you said, you find that path of where you want to go, and as you evolve for yourself, what you find interesting to you. So you've been teaching and coaching for 11 years.
Yeah.
Awesome. And what are the main sports, I guess, that you're involved in? Or which one do you like the most?
It's football all the way for me.
Okay.
It's always been my favorite. And then I love the off season with football. I love the strength and conditioning aspect, because you see.
And you played football?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was fortunate enough to play here, and the coaches here. I remember the coaches in this weight room. I think that's where I made most of my progress and most of my growth, was seeing results in the weight room and running suicides in that court out there.
Hate suicides.
But that's when you learn to push through things. That's where you learn to push through adversity, and you just realize that whatever life does throw at me, I'm going to be able to figure it out.
Or as you learn how bad you want it or how bad you don't want it.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, the coaches here, they just did an incredible job. I'm fortunate enough that I've been able to coach with a few of them when I joined the staff here.
Awesome. So now there's also another high school in
Correct.
Quincy.
Yep.
Tell me what sets aside North Quincy from, is it just called Quincy High School?
It's Quincy High and there's North Quincy High.
Okay, not South?
Nope.
North and
It's
South?
Quincy High.
All right, so why North Quincy versus Quincy? How are the coaches, or do you guys have trainers here for?
We have a trainer here.
Okay.
Always on staff, and right now we are in the process of hiring a new trainer.
Okay. Anybody looking for a job?
Yeah. We'll miss our old trainer a lot, but yeah, that position is there, and we're hoping to fill it with someone as good as Annie. But as far as what sets the schools apart, it's different sides of the city, and the tradition with like the football game on Thanksgiving especially, that's we're going on 100 years of it.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's been differences at the schools based on everything from neighborhoods to what sports we selling from year to year. It's something you can't really put your finger on though. If you grew up here, you get it.
Yeah.
You know. And you could ask anyone out on the street, and you'll get all sorts of different answers. Some will be appropriate, some might not. But for me, my experience was here, with the people here, the coaches here, and I still feel that same pride, and I still feel like we have a staff in this building that's able to do the same things for the kids that they did for me. The coaches across town, they're great. We do camps with them, we know them very well. And I think that they have the same pride in their school that we have in ours. But from first-hand experience, I can definitely vouch for the dedication, the care, the passion, the enthusiasm that the teachers and the coaches in this building bring every day.
Awesome. And so one of the things that struck with me is what you said is when you came through school, you feel like you had a debt to pay back.
Oh, yeah.
Because of just the life skills that they also gave you, not just sports or not just academics or whatever it was. So what is your philosophy on the kids that you see today? And we'll say in sports because that's what you're doing more of. But so your football athletes, your lacrosse, your volleyball girls, what's the dynamic that there's so many coaches out there that's just one sport focus. We want you to excel at this, or the parents, that's what they want.
Yeah.
But your thoughts personally on from what you experienced as an athlete growing up, what you see currently in other areas of sports in general, and what your philosophy is on, the training for the sport or balance.
Yeah, balance is key. I'm not a big fan of the approach of funneling the kid into one sport at a young age.
Okay.
But I can understand the reasons. If a parent sees a kid has a chance to excel at something, they want their kid to have a chance to excel. It makes sense. They love their kid. They want to see them do well. But again, when you lack that balance, I think it's so beneficial when kids play more than one sport. For instance, I know that a lot of our football players, they've had great development in strength and conditioning when they do wrestling in the winter. We've seen that with them. We've seen them move to the weight room, and we've seen a difference in them in the springtime. But by the same token, we've got wide receivers who get a lot out of playing basketball. So I think as long as the kid is doing something, that's good. That's the key, is that as long as the kid finds something that they're passionate about that they're doing, instead of just going home, chewing on the devices. I think it's hard to go wrong with having a kid involved in almost anything in the athletics and the arts and music, whatever it may be. But I think that balance is critical. I think having kids try a lot of different things out I think it's great for them athletically.
Yep.
Because you're not doing the same motions over and over. You're not just focusing on one particular movement, one particular skill set. But also I think it's great for them mentally. Maybe a kid who excels at one sport then has the challenge of jumping into a sport in a different season they're not as good at, that doesn't come as easily. And that translates to so many things in life that you want them to be able to do.
100%. And I totally, I think one of the things that European countries have above us is that they don't have single sport from very young on. They want the balance of at least 2 or 3 sports until 16 and develop all of these additional movement skills. So I don't even remember how me and my English, there we go, I'm in high school. I don't remember how Mike and myself connected really. It was through Facebook or Instagram.
I'm always looking for things in the off season for the kids to help with strength conditioning flexibility, all of that.
Right.
It's become one of those things that I really love sinking my time into. And I remember on one of the fitness groups that we're both in, I think you were demonstrating some stretches that hit this really hard to reach area at the back. I said, that's just what one of the kids was asking about. And you know, the ability that we have to connect with people on the internet is incredible.
Yeah.
Instantly you can reach out and you can say, you've got something great going on here. I'm a dummy about that stuff, you know. Would you mind helping me out here?
So that stands testimony already to why I'm doing this video channel, why I'm doing the social media posts, why I continuously try to spread awareness of how important it is to reach out and connect. So Mike and I connected a while ago, and you know, I'm in Connecticut and he's in Quincy, Mass. So I'm up here on vacation right now, and I'm able to swing by. We connect. We can film. You know, and I want to give him the opportunity to explain, you know, why North Quincy, his mindset. So tell me, you know, we connected originally because of the movement and the wanting to balance the athletes, and I know you guys are in transition with a new athletic director and stuff like that, but essentially, what would you like to see going forth into maybe 2018 school year, or it'll still be 2017, but 2017, 2018 for the athletes, what they can do or what we can provide in terms of, you know, us collaborating or, you know, me getting in touch with the AD, but what do you want to see implemented into your programs?
I think anything that increases flexibility, anything with their stretching, with looking at their movements and seeing things that maybe that we don't see. You know, because like I said, we've got the football stuff figured out, and
Right.
we all have a very good background in the weight room. But then there's so much good new science out there, but it's hard to sit through all the bad science. But there's a lot that I think can still be done with stretching, flexibility. So something like that, where we could have experts come in like you and look at what the kids are doing and give them something that they could take with them, that they could apply to, okay, this is what I should do before my workout at the very least, and this is what I should be doing bare minimum after my workout.
Gotcha.
If I'm experiencing pain in this part of my body after this lift, what does that mean? And what
Right.
should I do about it?
I think one of the most important pieces to the puzzle is, and why I love doing what I do, teaching people to better understand their own bodies, right? People, we understand how to use the cell phones, we understand how to use the cameras, we understand how to use our car, we understand how to use our computers. People have 0% understanding on how to use their own body, or even how it works, why pain is being felt when they're doing something, or, you know, I'm sure you see the horrendous form in some people when it comes to the weights, but the fact of, you know, loading yourself with additional weight before you have proper function in mechanics to the body.
Yeah.
You know, people, and you knew as we talked briefly why I got into movement therapy and mobility is because I was a wrestler. I broke down. I started to physically see and feel it myself, and the importance of applying what I've learned and experienced, to teaching other people what they can do for it. So, Mike, what's your web? I know you do. You want your website for this, or you want your website for photography?
We do the website for my work.
So you also do photography. So Mike also
photography, design, a little bit of everything.
Okay, so Mike also does his photography work, and we shot some pictures here. So if you're looking for fitness photography or any stuff like that, you know, in health and wellness, Mike's your guy. So shout out your website, Mike. Where can we find you?
Rush88.smugmug.com.
Okay.
And you can find me on Instagram at Rush88Creative.
Rush88. Okay, so where did we get Rush88 from?
Had a cousin who passed away a few years ago. Was very close to, and he did spray paint work. He did amazing murals and big canvases, and his tag was Sense, and the S from it was what really stood out.
Huh.
And one of the things that Craig was always really good at doing was enjoying every moment and slowing down, and I'm terrible at that. And that's something I've always been trying to get better at, is to slow down a little bit. And so it's kind of it's just kind of a play on the S is a really big part of my logo, my business card.
Okay.
And the idea of Rush kind of reminding me to slow down. So integrating his S into the word rush, and then 88 was my number one play here.
I like it. Rush88, Instagram, right?
Yes.
Cool. All right, so we're going to put that up there for you guys. You guys can check it out, follow him. It'll be linked as well in the bottom of the video. Mike, what would you recommend? I always like to end the videos more so of, if you have 1 or 2 tips, what would you recommend to anybody watching, maybe the parents that are watching that have kids that play sports, maybe some of the college or high school athletes that might be watching that play sports, across the board, what would you recommend for them to start doing more of, or just to start doing, that will prolong not only what they love doing in terms of sports, but also take care of them, you know, from what you've seen? What would your main recommendations be?
I think all my players will tell you, full body, because I think a lot of times when someone first goes in the weight room, especially if they're just doing it on their own, they just go to the Y and they just walk in the weight room and start just doing stuff based on what they've seen on TV. They're probably just going to do bench presses and curls.
Okay.
So total body.
Total body workout.
Yep.
Yep.
And just having that concept of total body in mind. Just thinking it's not just the front of my body, it's not just my arms, that there's a lot more here that I shouldn't be neglecting, that I should be building up, that I should be strengthening. Because as you know, you're doing too much of one thing, something else is going to get pulled, something else 100%. Is going to suffer. And nutrition. Nutrition.
But we don't have enough time to talk about nutrition. But okay, yeah.
But if you, I think if you simply try to be more aware of it at a young age, I think it pays huge dividends.
Yeah, I will agree with that. If I had never, so have you heard of Five Guys?
Yeah, of course.
Okay,
yeah.
So I've never had Five Guys. I refuse to eat it because if I never have it, I'll never crave it.
That's good.
I've had McDonald's, I've had some of the other shitty stuff that's out there, and I almost wish that my parents never gave me the Oreos. Never gave, because if you've never had it, then you never crave it, and you don't know what you're missing. So I agree with you, being more conscious on nutrition. Total body, 100%. What I would add to that is compounds, right? So get off of the machines as much and learn how to use your body, you know, with the lunges, the squats, the presses, just the compound functionality that your body is designed for. And hopefully we will be implementing, you know, some type of seminars or workshops in maybe the fall or next year at some point with some of the athletes in Quincy and North Quincy, if we get those both schools on board. But stay tuned for another episode of Own Your Shit. I don't know who we're going to have, but they've all been awesome professionals so far. So thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Pleasure to have you. Stay tuned. And don't forget, follow him on Rush88 Instagram and his website. You can check him out if you're looking for fitness photos. And I'm going to plug some of his stuff because we just did a bunch of photos as well. So thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned.